right, we're going to do a mic check for our distinguished members of the media. Mic check 1, 2, 3. It is Monday, June 2nd.
guys all ready? All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone had a good weekend, and it's great to be with you here today. At Metro government, our highest priority is public safety. It makes everything else that we do possible. We are seeing great progress all across our city. But even with the progress of 30% lower homicides and shootings year over year this year, we're not satisfied. We know and are working to ensure that this progress, that this positive momentum happens even faster, that we make even more progress. And that's why we've been stepping up our efforts to collaborate with local, state, and federal partners to crack down on violent crime all across our city. And we've committed to local reform efforts that will make LMPD the most trusted, trained, and transparent police department in the entire country. Those are our goals. To get there, we've launched a lot of initiatives, one of which is our comprehensive crime reduction plan, Safe Louisville, a new coordinated, multifaceted approach that has all city departments, federal partners, state agencies, and community organizations working together to prevent violent crime and protect public safety. And those are just a few of the things that we're doing. An integral part of our reform efforts in Safe Louisville is the new Community Safety Commission that we announced a few weeks ago. We know that LMPD and the Office of Violence Prevention cannot do all of this work alone. We need community involvement to help continue this push forward to keep us transparent and accountable to the entire community as this work continues. Town halls and listening sessions are important, and we've done a lot of those over the past couple years. But town halls and listening sessions are not enough. And that's why we set up the Community Safety Commission, to ensure that the community stays involved as this work of public safety improvement continues long into the future. We've been listening for the past 2.5 years, and we will not stop listening as we move into the future with more improvements and more reforms each and every day. The Community Safety Commission will be a forum for community input, engagement, and feedback on crime prevention and police reform as we work to both address violent crime and protect the constitutional rights of all people in Louisville. As we work to implement the community commitment, Louisville's consent decree, LMPD and the Independent Monitor will provide regular reports to the Community Safety Commission. The commission will be made up of various stakeholders working to reduce violence together. Membership will include community representatives from each one of LMPD's patrol divisions in the county, representatives from the government and the judicial system, and representatives of community organizations from various sectors, such as faith leaders, crime victims, criminal justice advocates, immigrants, medical professionals, educators, homeless service providers. The list goes on of community service organizations that we want to be involved in some way, shape, or form. So I'm excited to announce today that I've just signed an executive order to create the Community Safety Commission. The progress that we're looking to make and that we know we will make can only happen with our community working together. And the Community Safety Commission is a part of that effort to ensure we are working with one another, listening to one another, and taking action together. We are so fortunate that there are so many people all across our city that are committed to the work of improving public safety. So now to talk a little bit more about how the Community Safety Commission will work, how to apply to be on the Community Safety Commission, and more about this, I'd like to welcome our Director of Community Safety, Misty Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Greenberg announced the new Community Safety Commission back when he unveiled Safe Louisville, and we're so excited to get this off the ground and running now. Now the Community Safety Commission is going to serve two different purposes. Not only will it support the implementation of Safe Louisville, but it will also support the implementation of the community commitment, Louisville's consent decree. Remember, about 2 weeks ago, the United States Department of Justice moved to dismiss its court case, meaning that there will be no court-involved consent decree. That same day, Mayor Greenberg and LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey signed the community commitment, committing to move forward with all of the key objectives from that consent decree anyway, DOJ or no DOJ. We will select an independent monitor through an RFP process incorporating community input. The new Community Safety Commission will receive and respond to regular reports provided by Louisville Metro and that independent monitor concerning the performance of the strategies in Safe Louisville and the obligations in the community commitment. The Commission will review progress toward implementation, ensure transparency, and provide feedback and advice to ensure the timely achievement of the goals of Safe Louisville and the community commitment. There are 3 categories of seats on the Commission, as Mayor Greenberg just mentioned. First, there are citizen representatives. Second, community organization representatives. And third, government representatives. All seats will be appointed by the mayor. There will be a total of 8 citizen representatives. That's 1 from each of our LMPD police divisions, and surrounding areas like J-Town and Shively are included with an adjacent LMPD police division. There will be 7 community organization representatives and 7 government organization representatives. And we know who those are already. They are laid out in the mayor's executive order. We will have representatives from the court system, prosecutors' offices, the public defender, Department of Juvenile Justice, Metro Council, and the mayor's office. Meetings will be every other month, and they will be public. A location for the meetings will be selected at a later date. You'll notice the vast majority of the seats on the commission are community seats. They're for community representatives and community organizations. We want your voice. We want you to apply. And here's how you do it. Go to louisvilleky.gov/SafeLouisville. Then you're going to see 2 buttons. Each say Apply Online. The one on the left says Citizen Representatives. The one on the right says Community Organizations. If you want to be a citizen representative, click the Citizen Representative link, and that will direct you to our Boards and Commissions page. When you fill out that application, there's a drop-down menu where you select which board or commission you're applying to be on. Select Community Safety Commission. If you want to be a community organization representative, click the right option, Apply Online Community Organizations, and that will direct you to a separate online application specifically for the Community Safety Commission. You have 2 weeks to submit your application. Note that, like any city board or commission, applicants will be subject to the city's verification procedures, including things like conflicts checks and background checks. And these links are live now. Again, 2 weeks to apply. And after that, we expect that the selection process will take approximately 4 weeks. If you don't have access to the internet, go to one of our fantastic free public libraries. Staff there are ready to help you through the application process at a computer. The Community Safety Commission is an essential part of our efforts to make Louisville safer, stronger, and healthier. We want diverse perspectives, people who are passionate about this work. If you are, please apply. Thank you.
Thanks, Misty. Separate from the Community Safety Commission, we also are going to, as we mentioned also a couple of weeks ago, there'll also be community meetings in connection with the independent monitor selection. We're waiting for the judge to issue a ruling in the case that was filed before we set those dates, but we are actively working on that, and so we'll have more information about those public meetings following a judge's ruling in the case when we know we can actually start the timeline. But as we have said all along, that we are not waiting. We are taking action. The chief and I and our teams have been working every day over the past couple years to take action towards improvement and reforms to reduce violent crime and to improve LMPD in so many ways. And so we are not waiting. We are moving forward with the Community Safety Commission that we announced, and we're excited to get this process open. And I just want to echo what Misty said and encourage folks from all across our community to apply to be a part of this new Community Safety Commission, to make your voice heard, to provide your input as we continue to make Louisville safer and continue to work towards continuous improvement in all areas of public safety. Thank you all very much, and happy to take any questions from members of the media.
Can you talk a little bit about the incident this past weekend in the Highlands? This is another incident. We talked to some business owners. One man said today he owns 5 buildings in that area. He's looking to put them all up for sale now. They've had enough. We've talked to so many. Is there anything to, I know that LMPD has increased patrols, but what can residents do, business owners do who are up to here?
Well, I am part of it. The question was about some of the activity that happened on Bardstown Road over the weekend and what can residents do. Let me first start by saying that I share the frustration of the neighbors. And I'm very proud of the work that we have done over the past year or two in the area. We have shut down 3 bars that were not complying with the rules in the same general vicinity. We are not afraid to take action on businesses or individuals that are violating the law, that are not acting properly in what should be an area for people to have safe enjoyment. And so that's our focus. And so LMPD, you're right, LMPD has stepped up their efforts. And you saw a significant number of officers out over the past couple weekends. I can tell you that will only be enhanced in the coming weeks ahead. There are a lot of other things that the chief and I and our teams have been working on all weekend long that we will be implementing. I myself, along with the chief, we will be meeting with local business owners in the coming couple of days as well, so that they're aware of the new, what we are implementing as well. We will not accept what has happened the past couple weekends, and we will continue to have a vigilant effort out there. And also to any business that is operating without all of their licenses. If we are not aware yet, we are seeking to become aware, and we will continue to take action. But this behavior is unacceptable. We'll just go across the room here from left to right.
Okay. I had a quick question about the role of the Community Safety Commission within the community commitment or the local consent decree process. I've talked to folks, community organizations who have been calling on the city to make sure that there's a robust community process as part of the local version of the consent decree. I guess what would you say to folks who feel like the advisory role that the community commitment foresees for this organization isn't sort of giving residents real power in the process?
The question was about the role of the community safety commitment and what would I say to residents who would like for it to be more. I would encourage those people to apply, to be a part of the Community Safety Commission. We want many voices, many different experiences, people from all over our city to be a part of this, and we want to make sure that their voices are heard and that folks have constructive input as we continue to make progress. We are going beyond what the consent decree that we negotiated last year and signed with the Department of Justice says. We are going beyond that with this action. The chief and I are committed to taking action, and we're looking for folks from all across the community that want to constructively engage in making improvements. If people are concerned that this doesn't go far enough, I would direct their concern to the change of point of view of the current federal government and the executive branch of the government that changed their mind with respect to the Department of Justice consent decree that we had spent a year negotiating with them. We are committed to taking action on our own, with or without the DOJ, and this part of it goes beyond what we had originally committed to. And so I encourage people to be a part of the solution. Josh.
You outlined a number of types of groups and individuals who will be part of this Community Safety Commission, educators, faith leaders, homeless service providers, et cetera, people from the criminal justice field. The consent decree, however, it required Louisville Metro to solicit input on, I believe, the safety plan from community groups, quote, with an interest in public safety and civil rights, including groups representing communities of color and low-income neighborhoods. I did not see this language in the community commitment. Will this Community Safety Commission specifically include civil rights groups or groups representing low-income areas?
So the question was about the language in the executive order is not exactly the same as the language in the consent decree from a different provision there, sort of unrelated. But our intention is we would love to have individuals representing civil rights organizations to apply, individuals who live in low-income communities to apply. So yes is the answer. Our goal is to get as broad of representation as possible from folks that are very interested in these areas, that have worked in these areas, that have different points of view in these areas. And so people who live in low-income communities, people who live in neighborhoods that have been disproportionately impacted by violent crime in their backyards, we want you on the Community Safety Commission.
General concern that I had, that I heard from residents that I talked to about this Community Safety Commission, they like the idea of giving input to what you all intend to do, but they wanted to know if there was going to be some form of decision making given to them versus just giving input and feedback based on the recommendations or the ideas that you all had to implement first. Is there a real 50-50 give and take with this, or is there sort of a weighted difference in how there will be decisions made in this process?
Yeah, the question was sort of the role and scope of the Community Safety Commission. And there are many goals of this. One is to provide constructive input as to how we continue to work together to prevent violent crime from happening in the first place. And then how the police respond to violent crime when that occurs. People who live all across the community have valuable input that they can provide to the chief and his team, to me, to the Office of Violence Prevention, to everyone who is working hard day and night to make that happen. At the same time, this commission will be a voice towards providing feedback and input and getting reports directly from the independent monitor on the progress that is being made by LMPD towards the objectives that we've set forth. So there is a real opportunity here for people on the commission to be on the front lines of providing input to the organizations that have the authority under law to do the implementation. All of this will be out in the public for the community to see, and media will be welcome at those meetings as well. And so this is an incredibly important role. Hold on one second, I'll be back to you after this question.
On the Bardstown Road subject, a lot of neighbors have been talking, saying, that they would like to see going back to moving the closing of bars from 4 a.m. to 2 a.m. Is that still on the table from your office? I know you guys are working with a lot of community groups around Bardstown Road, and we've been told by many other groups that you guys, along with LMPD, have been working together. So I'm just curious if that's still on the table.
The question was about the curfew, the bar closing time, which is currently 4 a.m., and whether it should go back to 2 a.m. My view is everything should be on the table. When you see some of the activity that was happening, we should be looking at everything. And of course, what time bars close is one thing that we should consider looking at. There was a lot of data collection that was done a couple of years ago. Before I was mayor, Metro Council made an unsuccessful effort to change the bar closing time to earlier to 2 a.m. And so I'm going back to review all of that data myself, along with others on our team. We want to engage in conversations with many people, but that is something that certainly should be on the table, at least for discussion, along with many other things that I just described. Yes?
Two-part question. Is there a cap to the number of people for the commission? And the second part of the question is anyone doing active and intentional recruiting? Kind of similar to the question of the gentleman here in the front, of the particular kinds of people that you're hoping will join. Well, are you reaching out intentionally, proactively to get them?
So the question was was the first question on the number of people? Yes. The two questions were, one, the number of people on the Community Safety Commission, and the second was about proactively reaching out. The goals here and the numbers were to have a manageable group. When organizations or boards get too large, it's very difficult for each individual to have meaningful input and to engage in real constructive dialogue. If you have a 100-person board, it's very difficult to do that, for example. And so we thought this number will be an appropriate number to have the type of representation that we're looking for, at the same time have an effective, well-functioning board. So that was the reason these numbers were chosen. And then, so there are a total of 22. So there's 7, we had a little slide on here. There are 8 community representatives, 1 from each LMPD division, and then 7 representatives of community organizations, and then some representatives of various parts of the government, judicial branch and the executive branch, and the Metro Council as well, that play a very important role in implementing public safety initiatives, violence prevention initiatives, as well as reform initiatives. And then in terms of being proactive, that is the purpose of today and the next 2 weeks. We want to encourage community organization representatives, citizens from all part of the community, particularly those that have been disproportionately impacted by violent crime, to apply. And so this is the beginning of our outreach effort to individuals and organizations across the community to apply to be a part of the Community Safety Commission.
Mayor, a little unrelated, but there was a vandalism of a statue downtown this past weekend. We know the plaid words are up and it's being protected right now. What are the next steps for that? Can you just give us an update on that?
Sure. The question was about the vandalism that occurred, I believe, over the weekend to the York statue on the Belvedere. This is a despicable act of vandalism that has no place in our community. And so the first thing we are doing is working to get that repaired. And so efforts have already been ongoing this morning to make arrangements to begin the repair process of that statue. Of course, I would encourage, if anyone, somebody knows who did this, if anyone has information on who committed this act of vandalism over the weekend, please call. It's anonymous if you would like. 574 LMPD, and provide information about who committed this cowardly act of vandalism.
One more question. You guys good?
Thank you all very much. Have a good day.